Association of Coaching. Home of the coaching masteries.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone here. My name is Gonzalo de la Canal. We are starting this new learning cycle, and I would like to introduce Luis Gaviria, who will give us some words. My name is Gonzalo de la Canal and Ritu Matur. We both will present what is becoming an IAC licensee. Luis.
Well, thank you so much. This is such a beautiful opportunity, and to thank you, Ritu, and thank you, Gonzalo, for taking care of this interesting topic this morning on becoming a licensee. Becoming an IAC licensee has been such a wonderful experience for me, for myself, for our institution, the Neuroscience and Coaching Institute. And somehow it opened like a window of opportunity in many ways. It's like if I can teach others to become coaches, if I can teach others to understand and to embody and to feel and to utilize the coaching masteries in their everyday practice, it's such a mission. It is so powerful. I just can say that it has been a wonderful adventure all these years, and being part of this is like the possibility for us to become part of that highest standard in coaching. Everyone who learns about the masteries, they come to realize that this thing is so universal, so powerful, so beautiful. It really enhances the way we communicate, the way we see the world, the way we see other people. So this morning, having Ritu and Gonzalo taking care of talking about this is a unique opportunity for us to learn, and for having to get some other people to come and become licensees as well. Debo decir esto también en español por si hay algunas personas, Gonzalo, ¿no?
It's okay. It's this will be in English. This.
Oh, so let's leave it as this. So thank you so much for being here. I welcome everyone here. I thank you, Gillian, for being the head of putting this together with Charlie Medina and the rest of the attendees. A big welcome, a big hug from Texas in the US. And let me leave you to the message, Gonzalo and Ritu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Luis. Thank you.
Okay, so let me share our screen and we start. Okay, everybody got already the first.
Yes, it's clear.
Well, first of all, let's know each other. Ritu Matur and Gonzalo de la Canal, we both are now dealing with the IAC licensees, INC license, and we are working also in future project like the School Accreditation Council. So, well, let's present ourselves. Ritu.
Sure. Good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Ritu. I've been part of the IAC family from 2013, so it's been approximately 8 years since I've been part of this family. And I am also an IAC leader coordinator for the India chapter, the virtual India chapter. It's been my privilege and honor to be part of the licensee committee, and it's been a very, very fascinating journey for me to understand, the whole process of licensing in IAC. And as Gonzalo mentioned, that I'm also part of some future projects that we are doing which is aligned to the licensing area, and that is to work on an accreditation process, which will come into probably in play in another 6 months or so. So it's my privilege and an honor to be part of this learning circle with Gonzalo.
Okay, and it's my turn to present myself. I'm Gonzalo de la Canal. I'm now in Uruguay, South America. I began studying coaching in 2004 and took it seriously, professional from 2012. When I noticed that the IAC become available in Spanish, just to get the certification and the certification part, with no doubt, I joined the IAC, and since then, I'll be working as volunteer, as we all are here in this association. We are all coaches working together for the excellence of coaching, for keeping a standard of excellence of coaching through the 9 IAC masteries. So since then, I become a coach, a professional coach, full-time professional coach. I was working in another company, but I'm doing internal coaching. This is my passion, just to bring some conscious, just to level up a little bit the conscious of this world, one conversation at a time. So let's go for the basis. What are the objectives of the IAC licensee? Is they become, what is this conversation about? It's about the process of becoming licensee of the 9 IAC coaching masteries, and mainly aligned with what I started to talk about, is aligned with the vision, values, and code of ethics of the IAC. It's not, we cannot conceive a licensee that is not aligned with our values, mission, and our code of ethics. And understand why IAC consider licensees, coaches, mentors, and their school as a valuable partner in practicing the coaching masteries. And of course, we will talk about the advantages of becoming IAC licensee. So let's go first, Ritu, if you agree with the foundations and principles of the IAC values. This is something that we all share in the IAC, not only as a licensee, also as coaches. In fact, when we sign as a member, we always sign the IAC values and the code of ethics, and also as a licensee. So the lifelong learning was one of the biggest principles of the IAC. It's to keep a continuous learning, not to achieve one title or achieve one goal. It's enough just to keep on the excellence of coaching. So in those times when everything changes so fast, it's really needed to have a lifelong learning. Innovation and change become with this mindset of innovation, just to get the courage to go beyond the known and get into the innovation, and also embrace the change. Just not, the IAC is not to keep one standard solid, one standard as the only way to do the things. It's always open to the innovation and change of everything in the association. Diversity and inclusiveness. This is something basic on us. The diversity, well, we are all around the world. We've got many cultures. We've got many ways of coaching within the IAC. There's not one fixed way when you learn the 9 IAC coaching masteries, you will learn that the 9 IAC coaching masteries applied to any kind of coaching that you will find. And it's the best method that I know by now, just to measure a coaching of excellence. That's my point of view of the 9 IAC coaching masteries. And this is how we embrace the diversity in coaching, the diversity in culture, the diversity in every aspect of the life, the human life. And for sure, be inclusive to all of this. Partnership and caring. This is the part where becoming a volunteer, you will feel right away what means partnership in the IAC. When you became, as Ritu said, became part of this family, you will feel the partnership and caring that we each other have as coaches in the IAC. In fact, in the IAC, we felt every coach as equal and every coach as a partner. So then we care for them. Openness and transparency, today is crucial. We know what happens. And as a coach, we know well what happens when there is no open and transparency on any aspect of our life. Abundant thinking and trust and abundant thinking. Always be with this mindset of abundance and be confident. Get the trust and be confident about the future, what you are doing, and the people you are working with. Sustainability and responsibility. This is something that in the first time of coaching, there was something that was some kind of missing. When I started in 2004, well, the responsibility and sustainability were not those values that were crystal clear. Many techniques used on that way were not sustainable and were not responsible for the environment, meaning the environment, the human environment. The inner peace and centering, something that I'm now studying a lot, being in the Hindu culture, with the inner peace means to be the mind calm, just to calm down the mind. Got this peace, try to go back to this internal peace that we all got. And this is something that I found the best way through the yoga and meditation just to find. And centering, because being in yourself, standing in yourself, the centering, the focus will come along. So this is a value that no many other associations do value as we do. And for last, the integrity and high ethical standards. This is fundamental for the practice of coaching. And this is one of the things that many coaches has been questioned about. So keeping an high integrity and high ethical standard is fundamental for the IAC. With those values, this is the way that we start to think about to become a licensee. That's the reason why I took those minutes just to explain them. Because if we are not aligned with those values, if we do not honor those values, it will be complicated just the part to become a licensee. And for sure, the ethical principles of the IAC that is on the IAC ethical code, this is one of the first thing that you will sign when you become a member. Just to be on these ethical principles and this ethical code. So is the competence, all the coaches must be competent on what they are doing. The integrity, to have integrity in all the aspects on their coaching sessions. Non-discrimination, always aligned with the value of inclusiveness. Professional responsibility, because this code of ethics also calls your responsibility on your professional development. And respect for people's right and dignity. This is also something principle. These 5 ethical principles are the ones that rules our code of ethics, that invite all of you just to take a view, just to take a look on our webpage. So then, being saying that, knowing what we are, our foundations, the licensing, let's start with the benefits to become an IAC. Ritu, what can you?
Thank you, Gonzalo. And I think the IAC values and the ethics that you shared, I think these are simply reminders that, that these are not necessarily code of ethics or values espoused by IAC, but I think it would definitely resonate with a lot of us because it's aligned to our belief systems, our own values, and also how we want to be as a professional, or even as a not only as a coach, but even as a professional. So thank you for highlighting that. So now we come to the main part of our presentation, and I think many of you may be aware of it, but I think we would just reiterate some of the key benefits to become an IAC licensee. I think all of us who are in this webinar and also who are part of IAC families know that IAC coaching masteries are widely recognized as the definitive standards of masterful coaching. We are a community of a very global, diverse people from all over the world, actually from around 80 countries in the world. And we are all collectively looking at co-creating the future of coaching. So I think the reason why we are here is because we find value in being part of this community. And definitely IAC Coaching Masteries is recognized for that. The framework is very simple while creating a mosaic of applications via their interdependence. So the Coaching Masteries is the essence of IAC. And so I think all of us who are part of this webinar or even our website has information about IAC Coaching Masteries. So while they're a very simple framework, but there is so much of application for those masteries, not necessarily limited to coaching, but I think it's also kind of talks about a way of life, so, and it can be used for, for not limiting to coaching, but even for the kind of work that we do with say, for instance, it could be for working with different people in our training programs, etc. And becoming part of a selected high standard school, teaching the highest coaching standards. So one of the biggest advantage that you have of becoming an IAC licensee is that you are actually delivering on the highest coaching standard. And this would definitely help you in expanding your brand and a school by being an authorized IAC licensee. So we do have a very stringent licensing process. So if you are authorized by IAC, then definitely it adds value to your school or to your brand. And biggest advantage, again, I would say, is the internationally recognized code of ethics that grants your coaches and your customers a highest ethical standards. I think as an IAC member, I'm very proud of the fact that the code of ethics is something which we constantly work at, and that is our foundation principle, and we keep referring back to it whenever we have any, and that's something which we also evaluate when we are looking at any licensee application. whether a person's or a school foundation or the principles or the way they're doing their business is aligned to the code of ethics of IAC. And from year 2022, your coach training programs can be recognized and certified by the School Accreditation Council, which will be granting highest coaching standards. So I think that's something which Gonzalo and me briefly referred about, that apart from getting licensee, becoming a licensee, you can have your programs being accredited by the School Accreditation Council. And we're still working on the framework, but it will be come in force in 2022. And we are very proud of the fact that it's IAC provides the most transparent certification process for your students. And another advantage of becoming an IAC licensee is that you become a mentor for your students while they are going through the IAC certification process. So these are some broad benefits. I'm sure some of you are already experiencing it because you may be a licensee yourself, and I'm sure you may be aware of it, and we just wanted to reiterate that. Okay. Gonzalo, if you could just move to the next slide. Yeah. So how do I become an IAC licensee? So the first step of becoming an IAC licensee is that obviously you have to be an IAC member. And the second step is that you need to start and complete the IAC certification path. So the key element here is that IAC doesn't give a license to a school. It is given to an individual. And therefore you have to be, you need to go through the IAC certification process, which has 2 steps. Step 1 includes being a masteries practitioner, which you can get that, you can clear that step by going through the online test and submitting your MPDP. And step 2 is to send a recording with transcripts and to the certification body. And if they are satisfied with your recording, they provide you a IAC certified masteries coach title. Or if you submit 2 recordings, then you become a master masteries coach. And as I mentioned earlier, that you have one of the qualifiers for becoming an IAC licensee is that you need to be a CMC, that is certified masteries coach. And we give that not to a school, but to an individual. Following that, you can always send your license application. And with that, you need to present your intended program, which needs to have the IAC coaching masteries as the framework, and then follow it up with an interview with the licensee committee representative. So it's a very simple process. The steps are highlighted here. They are also there on our website. And you could always, one thing which is going forward, which will be imperative, is that all the licensees have to be CMCs. And I think many of you are already undertaking that journey of being certified masteries coach. And that will only be a qualifier when it comes to being an IAC licensee. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So I think some of the questions that we do come across when we get applications from licensee schools, and I think that's something which we are just trying to reiterate in a couple of slides. The first, as I already mentioned, that license is granted to the member applicant, not school. And the license covers presented training programs that include IAC coaching mastery. So it's important that as part of your training program for potential coaches, you need to include IAC coaching masteries in your content. And Also, it is important to note that IAC does not endorse, promote, or give accreditation to any coach training programs or coach mentors till it is being accredited by the School Accreditation Council, which I already mentioned that we are in the process of doing that. As of today, IAC is only giving licenses. We are not doing any accreditation to any programs as of now, but going forward, that would from 2022, a program and even a coach mentor could be also accredited by the School Accreditation Council. The IAC certification process is actually is a very, very, it's an independent, process, and it's a fairly rigorous process which one has to go through. And it's an independent of the certification process. So you may be certified by a different, committee, and your application for licensing will be certified by another committee. And the reason being that it's important for IAC to uphold higher standards of excellence, and being fair and transparent is also very, very important. So to espouse that, to continue doing that, both these processes are independent of each other. And the IAC reserves the right to cancel the license in case we find that there is breach of code of ethics or misuse of logos. And I think that's something which we would like to reiterate, because we do have had experiences where certain schools have misusing either the logos or even them not being following code of ethics. The license do not have any geographical restrictions. However, the license is given only in the language of training programs presented. So if it is in Spanish, then it is provided only for that program. If it is in English, then it is provided only for that. And the other thing which is crucial is that to remember is that the IAC coaching masteries going forward, the person who teaches IAC coaching masteries has to be a minimum of a masteries practitioner. So having said that, the same member can teach in different schools if all the programs in schools are covered within the license. So for instance, you have 2 schools in 2 different locations, then the license should cover both. And it needs to be, and when you are applying for a license, you need to look at specifying that as well. The license period is for about 1 year, and IAC is very, very flexible in a way that we do not prescribe any training or teaching methodologies. So it's up to the licensee school to work on a framework or a training program as to how they would like to teach the IAC coaching masteries, or how they would like to structure their program for potential coaches. So these are some of the generic inputs that we had about IAC licensing process. We are open to any questions. Gonzalo, would you like to add anything here?
One of the things, just to clarify how the IAC works. The IAC as a certification body got a transparent systems where no school can interfere with the certification process, where any coach coming from a school or not can present himself to the IAC, become a member, and start the certification process. Become a licensee doesn't mean that you will certify a coach as an IAC certified coach, because we try to keep the certification process as an isolated, transparent, and and separate for any school the process of certifications. This do not prevent to any school to give their certifications to his coaches and be the mentor for those coaches and be the mentor for those coaches to become an IAC certified coach. What is the advantage of this system? That any coach certified by the IAC was examined in the most transparent and audited in the most transparent way for the market, for the today market. In fact, we already know from some insurance companies that they are giving a discount on the premium for all the IAC coaches. I am talking about the insurance, the responsibility insurance needed for just to work in some countries like Canada, US, Europe, all around. They go through the certification process of the IAC, and they found this certification process more solid, independent, and consistent than other system that is in the market. That's the reason why the insurance feels more safe on this kind of coverage of professional coverage to the IAC certified coaches. And this is why we will keep in the same way. Just you will train your coaches, you will get an IAC licensee school, you will get an IAC licensee program. You will teach the IAC masteries to your coaches, and you will prepare your coaches to go through the certification process. You can give them the certification that you, as a school, can give to them. You have passed the program of my school, you have reached this knowledge, and whatever you want, always within the code of ethics, always not to confuse the students about the IAC certification process and your school. And you can give this certification to your students, but the IAC, CMC, and MNC will only be reached if the students go through the IAC certification process. This is how you will measure how strong is your school in teaching the IAC masteries, in teaching high standard coaching, and it's a way also to get the school evaluated, self-evaluated through the output you've got through a transparent and independent body that will examine and will evaluate the quality of coaches that you are producing in your school. So we found this is the best way just to keep the IAC licensees and the best way just to keep the higher standard and not become in another way just giving the prerogative to some school to change those standards. And by the other side, one of the other spirit of the IAC, of the licensees and the IAC as a certification is just not to discriminate for how many hours have you been studying, how many schools or titles you had previously to become a coach. Do not discriminate in any way. Coach as an IAC. That's why we keep the certification process open, not only for the coaches that came from schools, but for anyone that would like to apply for the certification path. Of course, if you train yourself in a IAC licensee school, you will get more chances just to go through the all certification process faster than you will came alone and go directly to the IAC, because this will be the goal of the School Accreditation Council just to check that all the programs presented and accredited by the IAC School Accreditation Councils got all the necessary just to become a certified coach by the IAC. But remember always something. We do not know what will be the next 10 years method of learning. We are not sure about this. We are not sure if the universities will continue as it is. We are not sure if we know how will be the best way to teach the future generations. And this is why we are not setting a standard on this way. We are trying to keep this open as we can. Just, you can teach ontological coaching, you can be teaching systemical coaching, you can teach whatever PNL, whatever you like to teach. All these coaches that you will produce will need to go through the 9 IAC coaching masters. And I got this feeling with this 9 masteries that is, for me, this is still the best way to look into a coaching conversation. In fact, I am applying not only for a coaching conversation, I am applying the same point of view for leadership, for organizations. If you translate the 9 coaching masteries and start to look through these 9 lenses, all the relationships that we've got, and relationships means whatever that has to be done with at minimum two persons, you will find that the 9 IAC coaches, coaching masteries are the best way to look deep in how we relate with the others and do it with masteries. This is why the IAC coaching masteries is something that is not to be learned only, but to be lived. To live the 9 coaches masteries will give you the key just for the development as an IAC coach.
So, Gonzalo, there are a couple of questions in the chat. So should I read it out?
Yes, let's go through the question.
Okay.
In fact, the idea of this webinar was to give a short content, the minimum content that you need to know, and answer all the questions that may rise for this kind of different method that we've got on the IAC.
Right. So the first question is from Jose. He says, so in basically having this license represents background for coaching. It shows that I have a backbone and a standard to adhere to. But for them to become IAC certified, they have to undergo their own process. So would you like to answer that? Yeah.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
All the coaches need to go for the IAC process, as I mentioned before, because it's the only way just to certify that this coach was audited, examined, and tested by an independent body. In fact, our system, the IAC system for certification, it's a blind system. So the certificators do not know the identity of the coach, and and that's the way just to keep it the most transparent possible.
Does that answer your question, Jose? Hopefully it would have answered. Okay, just to reiterate what Gonzalo said, that yes, your coachees who go through the program in your license school has to be certified by IAC. So they have to undergo their own process. So there's another question from Saurabh who says, do we also recommend a time duration within which a participant needs to complete his or her certification? Okay.
Oh, this is one of the big discussion of the School Accreditation Council. Because, and I remember a case, an old case from the IAC. I always mention this, the old case of the IAC, that one person became a member, put the online test, made the online test, and those times there wasn't the MPDP set, so he presented directly the records, and they found the records on the MMC level directly over there on the top of coaching, and everybody wants to know who is that MMC that nobody knows, so they called. They interview him and they ask, what was your background, just to keep this high level standard? And his background was 35 years of cab driver, taxi driver in New York City, doing short conversation and meaningful conversations. This man got all the skills to become a coach during his developing process in his life and to be aware of the conversations. So how can we say to this guy, you are not a coach because you didn't complete 200 hours of training, for example? This man was a terrible, a great coach. And this is one of the things that we stand on our values, not discrimination. So we don't know if you've got a method that you will teach a coach in 200 hours, 400 hours, 100 hours. We surely know that in 20 hours of training, it's difficult just to become a coach as a training program, thinking about a person that doesn't know anything about coaching. And in 20 hours, we all know that is not enough. We need just to practice, practice, and practice. We will not send 35 years to drive a cab in New York, for sure. But on the School Accreditation Council, we are now dealing with this problem. How to set a standard that doesn't go below the line, but allow to any kind of training that we don't know at this moment, give the training just to reach in one specific time. That's the reason why on the School Accreditation Council, we will go deep to the programs. We will go deep into the school just to try to know how they make it and how they reach the excellence of coaching.
Gonzalo, I always find that story fascinating, that how, IAC is one body which really doesn't espouse any kind of certain number of coaching hours or going through certain program. You could, do it independently as well. So there's another question from Terry, who's asking, what does a typical licensee charge a participant to register for this kind of training? Is there a typical fee structure?
Well, about the IAC certification, the IAC licensee, we've got an annual fee. The annual fee is $850. It's something that is on the website. You will find it. It is renewed yearly, and it applies from the time that you are approved and pay the license. By the other side, we've got a referral program, as we use in it's more common in in English-speaking culture, the referral program, if you refer something, you got a commission. So if you refer a new member, you will get a referral fee for this. So this is how we structure, and there is nothing else about the licensee regarding movement of money. It's only the license, and by the other side, you will start to participate on the referral partner center.
Just to add to what Gonzalo said, that as far as IAC is concerned, the only fee which IAC has is for the licensee school, and that is of $850. But as far as for the participants are concerned, I guess it all depends on the kind of program that they're running, the duration of the program, and obviously, there may be wherever they are, maybe location or whichever country that they are running the program. So there's, as far as I'm aware of, or I think Gonzalo can correct me if I'm wrong, there's no fee structure which IAC prescribes for charging the participant for the training. So Jose has another question, that can we become a partner for IAC and offer to the public a program to get ready to take the IAC examination?
Right, for sure. This is the idea, to become an IAC licensee, just to get ready for the IAC certification path. This is one of the things that will grant your students that they are going through the right school to be prepared for the IAC certification process. In fact, many of the schools that are IAC licensees are becoming very successful in prepare new certified coaches. And this is also a training for the school, because they will know how good they train their students when their students go through the IAC certification process. And this prompt to the school to improve their process to reach that level.
So I don't see any more questions, Gonzalo.
So I would like to say something more about it. We are looking at the market and different certification process, and we found lately on the certification that many MMC from other associations that thought that they will pass right away the MMC at IAC, they didn't. So this is one thing that I would like to raise awareness about it. This is not another standard. This is the highest standard of coaching that we've got. We got a process that involves not only MMC from only IAC. The MMC from IAC are also MMC in other associations. So the standard to become an MMC through the 9 coaching masteries implies itself that you are on the top of coaching.
Anyone would like to ask questions? Maybe can type in the chat box.
You can open your microphone if you like to talk. This is something that we used to do as coach talk.
I think there are no more questions, so.
Well, I would like to make just a comment here. and that is, I myself have been a member of another major certification body in the world, a very good one, a very good one. And I was a member with them and also with the IAC for a number of years. And this is, of course, my experience. Being the other body of certification and licensing and everything that you can consider, there were two things that brought me to be part of IAC and only IAC during the last few years. Number one, there's this sense of fraternity that we find in here. I mean, we are not alone here. We become personal friends, not only colleagues. I know that I can call at any time Gonzalo de la Canal, Ritu, Gillian, Terry Lipovsky, and say, hey, man, I'm going through this. And they are not just there, oh, let's keep this professional. No, it's we are friends. We become friends. We take care of each other. That's one of the things that I found very appealing in the IAC. Number two, the other one was in some other bodies, it's very common to find this competition-like of environment. So I'm competing. Look at my stuff and let's compare. And if you want to learn, let me supervise you. All right, with a sense of arrogance that I don't find very attractive myself. I'm arrogant enough, and I don't want to be I don't want to be in the middle of people more arrogant than me. To tell you the truth, it's just that it felt good. It felt like, hey, here you have someone to guide you, someone to be with you along the way. And that to me is very meaningful. And not only that, but then the rigor of the process. The rigor of the process. No one here, because they are paying 1,000, 10,000 or whatever, they are not going to get ahead in the game. No one is going to be paying to become someone in the IAC. There is no way to do it. Because there is this sense of one of the values of the IAC is honesty. We need to be true to each other. It's not a group of people telling to the world, we are the best there has ever been. Oh, no, there is nothing like that. We are just committed to excellence in good faith and also being accompanied by our peers and also measuring up in a good way with great schools, great human beings. And if we add to this one thing, and that is there is an underlying value in the IAC. Not only rigor, not only excellence, but there is love. We love this thing. We love to be part of the IAC. It's so meaningful to me and to everyone. I mean, you should see one of the meetings and the way we conduct things. This is a matter of respect. It's a matter of high standards. It's a matter of being together, helping each other. This is the best family I've had professionally in my life. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luis. They were beautiful words. I think it resonates with all of us that IAC is a family, and I think that is something which helps. I think we all help each other in some way. I've learned so much from each one of you personally, and I feel that my own learning has also become more deep with each and every interaction I've had with each one of you, and it's a beautiful family that we have.
One of the things that makes me remind about this, become a family, and this is one of the questions that I got from many licensees. If I am now from this I got my program accredited in this association or other association. May I become also on the IAC? And I always said, of course, there is no problem at all. And I can offer jointly with the other. Yes, of course. We are not competing. We are not competing with others. We are setting our standard. That is the 9 coaching masteries and the way that we go through the certification process. But this is not in competence with other associations that we value and we honor also.
Absolutely.
This is our way to do the things, and you can do this in many ways you like it.
I think, Gonzalo, I think we are nearing 7, so we could, with a huge thank you to all those who have joined our session today. And also huge thank you to Luis, Terry, and everyone, Charlie, for all the help, Gillian. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to be there on the other side. Next time I will prepare something just to get everybody more involved. I would like to hear the voices, not to
Yeah.
me. As a coach, it's not my way just to do things. But if you would like to get in contact with the IAC licensing committee, you can go through the web page. You will get here the mail of us. We are reading the mail. We are reading this mail, every one of us, and we are all in contact in the IAC committee. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. A big hug, everyone. A big hug, everyone. And shall we go to video and to the end? Shan, so good to have you too.
Our president.
All right. So it was a very nice meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
All right.
The International Association of Coaching. Home of the Coaching Masteries.